Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS, who rule well, teach well, being great examples to us younger brothers. And peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful elect out there pushing His word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds. In the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, pushing to get up out there. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. All right, and what I want to get into today, just doing it in transit and going into the power of darkness. The elder brother Raquel Quam, all right, the brother out of London, he speaks heavy, on the witchcraft, that runs, this society, all right, because as it says in the book of Ephesians, chapter 6, the 12th verse, how we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against wickedness, the power of darkness, okay, the rules of darkness in high places, man, roughly paraphrasing, because what we have to understand, the world that we see, this age, this society, is all built up and set up on witchcraft, from the architecture, from a ritual standpoint, that's why, there are certain holidays that, these holidays, they go back, to pagan rituals, actual pagan rituals, man. Your Christmas, your Easter, okay, your, you go into your, even Thanksgiving, so that's pretty much commemorate, okay, the wickedness, that they done, to the northern tribes, okay, the church, on Sunday, okay, which, this society, is nothing but all the ancient, pagan empires of old, all right, coming back, okay? When you go to, the Babylon, ancient Babylon, even going all the way back to Nimrod, during the time of, the Chaldeans, the Nebuchadnezzar, their era, okay? The Assyrians and the Romans, all right, in Egypt, okay? Well, these are all cultures that was saturated in witchcraft, left-hand magic, okay? And that's the government, that's the entity, okay, that runs this society. All right, these people that you're voting for, your city councils and your mayors, and okay, these government officials and your president, all these people, okay, are juiced in on some level. Okay, a lot of them belong to these secret societies. Okay, because when you go into how, what they call the Illuminati, okay, which we're just finding out about the Illuminati, okay, in recent times, okay. By the time we found out what the Illuminati was, they had been infiltrated all sects of society, the school curriculum, okay, the economy, okay, the government, you see, law enforcement, military, okay, entertainment, you see, everything that, shapes reality in this society is ran by left hand. This man has turned the earth into a pagan ritual. Esau Edom was so bad. All right, that's why he's known as what, the mistress of witchcraft. Nahum 3 and 5. Okay, Americans know that well-favored harlot was the mistress of witchcraft, man, because America has been the platform for the elites, okay, to expose the earth to witchcraft, man. You see, to get the and this is why, we should be extremely thankful to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua that He loosened us from the power of darkness, man. Okay, from the grip, okay, of the guys of this world. And the only way to be loose is through Yahushua. Okay? When the scriptures speak about us being in the light, St. John 8 and 12, okay? speaks about, Yahweh Shai letting his disciples know, about following him, that you're in the light. Okay? You're not in darkness, man. You see? And the light makes us see everything for what it is. Okay? When we're walking in the light, we're not at all in Babylon. Okay? We're not at all, okay, in the things of this world. Because when we was in darkness, man, we thought these things life. Okay? We thought, the so-called achievements of this world, so-called prosperity, okay, of this world, we thought this was it. We thought this was the end all be all. Okay, we was enchanted. You see? You gotta understand, Yahweh Shai broke a spell, okay, on the elect, on the hopeful elect. That's the power of this word. It broke enchantments, man. Okay? As it says in the book of 2 Corinthians 10:4, how the weapons of our warfare are not, carnal, okay, but mighty through the power of the Most High to pull down strongholds, man. Okay, and those strongholds are strongholds of the mind. Being a nigga is a stronghold into our people, man. Okay, street culture. Okay, trying to be, the man in America. Okay, women, under that feminist vibration. Feminism is a stronghold, man. It's a deep darkness. Okay, when I say nigga culture is a deep darkness, man. That's why, even men, like you have certain athletes, okay, that here it is, they're making millions of dollars to play a sport, okay, but they still want to imitate what? Street niggas, man. Athletes ruining their careers, trying to what? Imitate street niggas, trying to imitate death. Okay? Because that's a strong enchantment. You see? You got the nigga woman, no matter how horrible her results are, she still tries to live by the code of feminism, man. Okay? Because it's a strong enchantment. It's the power of darkness, man. Christianity, no matter how many facts you bring out about Christianity, how it's off, how it's based in paganism, no matter how many facts, okay, no matter how many precepts that you can bring out to show that Christianity is off, okay, you have our people that are defended to the death, okay, because it's a strong enchantment. It's of the power of darkness, man. And going back to the point, Yahweh Shai, he broke the spell that was on us, man. Okay, because that's a heavy enchantment, that's a heavy spell that's on our people. Okay, because of what the guys of this world, the scriptures say, if our gospel is hid to them that are lost, in whom the guys of this world have blind minds of them that believe not. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, okay, and verse 3 and 4, okay, well, at least the glorious light of the gospel should shine unto them and they be converted. And see, the Lord only allows his gospel, okay, to convert the elect. Okay? If we're not of the elect, there's no way that we can be converted and stay converted, man. And that's the thing. That we're called because the Lord has allowed this word to convert us to the light. To believe the gospel, to believe the good news. The Lord allowed that to happen. Okay? Because if we were not of, the elect, the Lord wouldn't allow, us to be converted, okay, to the light, man, to see things for what they are, man. Okay? So the Lord has allowed, a remnant to be converted to light, okay, and to escape the powers of darkness, man. And we, Lord will, we endure, okay, to the end. You see? That we overcome this beast system, man. But being in the light allows us to see what this beast system is, man. Okay? It takes the mask, okay? It uncovers everything. That's what the light does. The light exposes, man. You see? So this light has exposed everything about this society, man. From, the scam of money, okay? The scam of college and, the scam of these religions, the scam of politics, the scam of women, okay? The scam of food. Like the light just exposes everything about this devil, man. Okay? You see, so we, have been set free through Yahushua. Okay? We're free to operate outside the enchantments of Esau Edom. Okay? There was a time when we was in the box of just being a nigga. We only knew how to operate and think like a nigga, like a Christian. Okay? There was a time when, you sisters, man, your sisters, all you knew how to operate is under the enchantment of feminism. Okay? But it's through Yahushua that we've been set free to operate outside, okay, of the enchantments of the wicked Esau Edom, so-called white man. Okay? Because Esau Edom, he has the minds of our people. That's why you have a nigga, okay, that you got niggas for Trump. You see? That's an enchantment. Okay? When the nigga think that's a flex and that's a promotion from going from being a Democrat to a Republican, okay, but it's all within the enchantments of the devil. Okay? It's all within the enchantments of Esau Edom. You're still within that enchantment. Okay? You're still under the authority of the power of darkness, man. Okay? Nigga think he, go from, being a Christian to a Muslim, okay? As if it's some great promotion. You're still under the enchantment. Because everything that's outside of Yahushua is darkness. And it's rooted in Esau Edom. Okay? And it was all started by Esau, this fake, this wokeness. Okay? And it was just another psyop, man, to keep you in enchantment, but think you outside the enchantment. See, as the scripture called, Esau Edom, more crafty, than any beast of the field. Okay? So this devil is extremely crafty, man, and this is layers upon layers of deception, okay, that this man has over the masses, man. So you might get off a layer or two, but what you gonna do with, the other 97 layers, okay, that this man has on the masses? But see, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai, through Yahushua, man, Yahushua breaks through all those layers, man. And get to the source of it, get to the core of it. You see? And, when we come into this thing, we have to grow out of those dark ways, man. We have to grow out of darkness and grow into the light. Because as we're being conformed, to Yahushua, okay, we being deformed from being a nigga, man. Okay? So as that old man dies and the new man is constantly renewed, okay, that's the process that we're in, to where we're, shedding off all darkness and fully coming into the light. And that's why, as we mature in this thing, the longer we in this thing, man, we begin to despise the darkness more and more, okay? And we cleave to the light more and more, because we'll wait when righteousness is going to dominate the earth, man, okay? And as we mature in righteousness, man, like I say, we begin to despise this place with a perfect hatred, man. Everything about this place, man, okay? Like we have absolutely, no love, okay? No attachment to this society or the people in it, okay? We understand now why the Lord is going to judge like he's going to judge. You see? We understand why the Lord, okay, is going to turn America to a desert. You see, these things make perfect sense now. As we mature in Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai, okay, as we're being, conformed to Yahweh, spiritual things make sense. Righteous judgment makes sense. Okay? this place being, saturated with nuclear warheads and turned to a lake of fire, well, it makes perfect sense, man. Okay? And this place got to go. And the majority of the people in it, outside the elect. Okay? So the power of darkness, has been dominating the earth, for centuries, man. Okay? Esau Edom, he's revamped, like I said, a lot of the ancient witchcraft and made it a popular culture. He made it popular, to celebrate, pagan gods. Okay? Rituals, even go to abortions, going into the modern day Molech. He made these things the norm. Okay? The things that the Lord hates, this devil has made the norm. Okay? He made it a normal way of life in society. But when we was in darkness, we didn't see that. We didn't know that, man. We would participate in paganism, thinking we were doing something good. Thinking we was in good standings, man. Okay? But that was all done in darkness, man. Under the power of darkness, Esau Edom. Okay? But as they have this light now, we fully understand, all right, the wicked system that's running the earth. Okay? This whole thing with, they always talking about the Epstein list, man. That's just the tip of the iceberg, man. Okay? There's many Epsteins in this society, man. And worse. Okay? It's the people that we'll never hear or see on the news. Okay? It's way worse than Epstein. This devil, wicked as hell. Okay? But we have to believe, okay, that they're just a small inkling of the weakness of the powers of darkness, man. And these celebrities and entertainers and athletes that they present to the masses, man, you best believe that they all had to bow down, man, because you don't make it to certain status in Esau kingdom, okay, and you haven't went through no rituals, man. You haven't been humiliated, all right. You haven't been violated, okay? The entertainers we know are tied into, okay, this Babylonian church, man. Okay? These jakes that hire ups and, gatekeepers in different, industry, man, these, okay, jakes, what we have to understand, they done had to come on in. Okay? Because this is the power, this is the kingdom of Satan under Esau. When Satan came to Yahushua, he said, look, bow down to me and I'll give you all these kingdoms. Okay? He wants Yahushua to worship. You see? So Satan runs this current world through Esau because Esau, hey, he bowed down. Okay? He fully has immersed himself, in Satanism. You see? So this devil lets you know that he played ball with Satan. Okay, Yahushua did. And that's why, in Matthew said, what can a man, Matthew 16, verse 26 to 28, Yahushua spoke about, what the man gain if he, lose his soul. He get the whole world, but he loses his soul. What can a man give in exchange for his soul, man? And these, athletes, certain entertainers, okay? They did things that they can't come back from. The Lord has allowed them to be defiled, okay, and to be violated beyond repair. And that's why you see, these meltdowns, by these certain celebrities, they're shriveling away. You see? Unstable as hell. Okay? Because they've been heavily traumatized by Esau Edom. There's no telling what these niggas done had to do. You see, there's no telling what these guys have had to do, okay, to retain their spot in this kingdom under Esau Edom. You know? And that's why we look forward to a righteous kingdom, because we don't have to do any wickedness, alright, to come up in the kingdom of Yahweh. It's going to be the exact opposite, man. Okay? Righteousness is going to be the standard. Righteousness is going to be the way. Okay? It won't be no one doing their own thing in the kingdom. Everybody's going to come under their righteous banner. Okay? And, you know, why these heathens are in captivity. That's why a 1,000-year period is to, you know, to establish the throne of David forever. Okay? And that 1,000-year period is going to be very strenuous for the heathen, because righteousness is going to be set as a standard. You see? So we can't thank, you know, Yahweh Shema Shah enough, you know, for bringing us to this marvelous light, man. Okay? Because it's through this light, you see, that we can see beyond all the distractions, man. We can see beyond Babylon, beyond the government of Esau ruling the earth. We see an earth rule where this man is not in power, where Yahweh Shah is ruling. Okay, those first fruits, those joint heirs are ruling. Okay? Being in the light, we can see these things, man. Okay? It's not just a concept or, you know, or just a random conversation or a random thought. No. We see, okay, a kingdom functioning where this nigga's not in power, he's not in charge, man. Okay? But it comes from being in the light. Okay? Because the right always overpowers, you know, the dark. The left. So like the right always overpowers the left. You know, you seen when Moses, all right, threw his staff down, it turned to a snake, and then those priests, okay, in Egypt, you know, those warlocks of ancient Egypt, they was able to do the same thing. Okay, but the snake of Moses devoured, okay, the snake, okay, of the priest, okay, of Pharaoh. You see, showing that the right hand always will devour the left. Okay? So what we're seeing now is that the right hand, you know, the body of believers, the body of prophets, okay, is beginning to what? Overwhelm the devil. And that's why we know eventually the devil just gonna come with it. You see? Because he's being overwhelmed, you know, by this true doctrine going out, this word. Okay? And he know what it means for us, and he know what it means for him. You see? So we're in, you know, a great place, man. Thing is, just staying here. Because the scripture said, he that endured until the end, the same shall be saved. You know? So we're right here, you know, the doorstep of the devil, you know, being judged. And you still have the masses of our people, okay, in darkness, man. Alright? They're not aware of, you know, our people. We got people, you know, who Edom is, man. Don't know who they are as Israelites, okay? Don't know the first thing, alright, about prophecy, okay? They're just here. You see, in darkness, man, trying to make, you know, the most of it, trying to decorate their prison as pretty as they can. Okay? So, you know, we have to continue, I would say, to be thankful that the Lord took us out that darkness, man, because we could have been in darkness out there, man, bugged out. Okay? But the water, you know, Yahweh Shema Shah for bringing us from darkness to this marvelous light, you know. We see everything for what it is. So there was a point, just wanted to touch on that. Something I was meditating on, Lord will, you brothers. All right, and you sisters edified. Till next time, say shalom, going my shalom, Bob, soon, shalom.